Hey man, welcome back to another episode of Vegeta Saiyan Army. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sending all the messages. Thank you for all the love. Y'all know I'm a new channel and we're growing, we're getting better. And thank y'all for the patience. Today we're covering how to play against red. Red is my favorite color. And red is very different from the other colors. It can be aggressive and it can be really tricky to play against defensively and offensively. So don't worry about the deck I'm using. In this video, I'm using Vegex, just because I feel like a lot of you are familiar with it, so you're gonna know what I'm showing you here. Um, but first things first, don't just like you wouldn't treat a blue deck the same way you would treat a red deck. Don't treat every red leader the same. Look at the leader. Some leaders have capabilities and others don't. Like if you see one that's a Saiyan, if you see one that's like Baby Vegeta, he is a machine mutant, so he has access to different battle cards I'm gonna go into. Um, Also, unisons on board are a big deal. Um, so there's a lot of things to cover. The sequencing sometimes is a lot similar to yellow because yellow and red target cards without barrier. So when I sequence a swing against any deck, what I like to do is I swing with the weakest battle card first, right? In case they use a Senzu Bean, or in red, you have Unending Awakening, or other ways of pumping your leader for the rest of the turn, or like a Beerus Ball or something. So I swing with the weakest thing first, then I swing with the second weakest thing, and then I swing with the leader last, and then I swing with the Unison, right? Because if I swing with the leader first, my battle cards are exposed to a defensive step, and then I can get less attacks out of it if they blow my board up. But this is something that it's not a rule. This is like it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just a guideline, B. So it changes on what the information is that you're presented with. When you're playing against red, I said this last time against yellow. You should map out your turn before you even charge, right? But if you have one plan and something happens, you need to have a plan B, C, and D against red. Um, so the first card we're going to talk about is having your board exposed when Vegex was revealed, and I was trying to play against it. One of the way I was beating it was by using Topo Regicide. Early in the turns, I was playing Beerus into Cooler, then Unending Awakening, Senzu Bean, and then just defending my life early on kind of thing. But with red green, one combination uh, that I love is Saiyan Technique Graded Vegeta. I've been talking about this card forever, yo. If you have a red green multicolor card in your energy, and your opponent has 4 more non-token battle cards in play, when you play this card or combo with this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards with 15k or less power and KO them. Now, is everybody running this card? No. But the reason I like it for this video is because it's a perfect example of three things that you need to look at when you're playing against someone. One, it has a limitation that says that you can only use it if you have a red and green battle card in your energy. Let's hold on to that real quick. Let's think about that. That means that the first clue that a card like this may be coming is the energy being red green. So you should see a lot of things coming. Your opponent's energy should tell you a story. Like if you're experienced with the color, if they have all blue red energy, if they have all red energy, or if they have one red green energy. So just looking at your opponent's energy can tell you a story about the rest of their deck, right? Two, when you play this card or combo it from your hand, choose all of your opponent's battle cards with 15k or less power and KO them, right? So those are two things right there. One, 15k or less power and KO them. And two, the limitation of your opponent having to have 4 cards or more, right? So the reason I'm hanging on to this so much is because it's a trend in red cards, and this is so important for you guys to listen to. Like The limitation of only blowing up cards that are 15k or less is something that you'll see in cards like Exploding Weakness Vegeta or any sweeper. Like anytime you have a sweeper, you're gonna have cards that target a certain number in your battle power. Um, what was I gonna say? What's the other one? Play this card or combo it. Again, it's one combo energy. So just because the red green isn't up doesn't mean you can't use that one. Any one energy. Um, and this isn't to talk about this card. This is just to point a card with three limitations that represent pretty much every single red card. Because every red card is either going to say your opponent has to have at least two cards in play for this to go off, or like um, they have to be 15 or less, or 20 or less and KO them, or or you need this much energy to activate this, or you need this color energy to use it. Um, you can get a lot of information from your opponent, whether you're going to be swinging or not. You know what I mean? By looking at their energy. That's all I'm trying to say. So, let's say that you're swinging with lead, right? They can tap one energy, combo the Vegeta, and then they just KO'd your entire board. Besides this guy, because he's 19. So what they can do is tap another red and a rival Gogeta to get him, right? So that's one combination. Red is really good defensively. Some colors I'm not really afraid of defensively. Red and yellow are dangerous. That's why I'm kind of like talking about them first. I think green is the best actually defensive color, and that's why when I'm talking about red, I'm also talking about red green and red blue because the green video just on mono green is gonna be crazy. So um, red green has negging and KOing, and red blue you're gonna see untap. So if you see a red blue battle card of the energy, expect it to be untapped. Just like the last video, if you see that your battle cards are on board, just know that they may get KO'd. Red's strength is in destroying battle cards without barrier, right? And if you look at the power of your cards, like look at these. This is a 4 drop, this is a 3 drop, this is a 3 drop. Red usually doesn't go for energy. It usually goes for the power of your cards, right? Um, so keep that in mind. There's so many things to keep in mind. So a way to avoid this right here is these cards come in free, right? Now, if you're playing another deck, you would tap it, whatever you do, right? Before you use whatever effect it is that you use to play these cards, I would swing with leader first, then swing with unison, and then swing with these guys. I'm sorry, and then play these guys. Um, these three people right here, right? These guys get played at the same time because they get played out of the drop area. I get that. But if you can play them one at a time, that would be great. Because if you can play him, then swing, so you play Time Magic Vegeta, you swing, and then you play this guy and swing. Because if you flood the board and then swing one at a time, they can have a defensive step able to using a card like this and then like this. Again, I know I grabbed like a super weird card nobody's using, but it is like one of my favorite cards in the whole game. We've been talking about this card, and it's just like the perfect card because it has like the three limitations you're gonna see in red a lot, and it's an arrival target for Gogeta, and that's one of the reasons. That's one of the ways I was beating Vegex back in the day. But again, just saying, just on a basic level, play your card, swing first with what's safe, then play your cards one at a time. It's kind of like tiptoeing through your turn. You don't want to just jump in and just start swinging. You know, tiptoe your turn, kind of start, fight your way through it, and then adapt to what they're doing. If they tap out to do everything they just did, for example, now you got a little more room. You know, they can't topo, they can't do a few things. But again, just like yellow, you have to protect. It's like uh, Jizza and Rizza and Ghostface Killer were saying in Wu-Tang Clan, protect your neck. You think you're gonna go in here and you're gonna get and you think you're going to swing for a game, you think you're going to swing 50 times with a bunch of 15Ks, wrong, you're going to get 2-0'd. So let me put these guys in a drop real quick. Let's go to the next card. Cool. So another thing red will do, and it's something yellow does really well. They'll have energy up, and if you swing first, then they topo. If you play something first, they'll counterplay. Um, Yellow does the same. If you win first, if you swing first, they'll Nimbus, and then if you play something first, they'll either counterplay with Champa or they'll have like a combo piece ready for it. Um, and this is why mapping out the turn is great, but adapting to what they're going to do is even greater. Um, so a lot of counterplays Red has require like two energy or one energy to play, and that's great. But for example, like this new Yamcha here is definitely going to see play. Definitely going to see play. But you guys need to. I always say this. Don't be afraid to pick up a card. Ask politely. Can I pick that up? Pick it up. Read it. He says counterplay skills of other cards for the turn. What the hell? Oh, you can't activate. I can't read you. It says choose up to two of your opponent's battle cards. They get minus 15k for the rest of the turn. Then play this card. Permanents. Permanents. If you have a red unison card with two or more markers in play, that means that if this dude has one, they can't do it for free. If it's got two or more markers in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So that means that they have to be playing somebody that has enough markers for it. Always read the conditions. If somebody does the play with Resonant Explosion and here, Saiyan Technique, Great Vegeta, and you have only three battle cards on board, be like, no, you're bugging out. I don't have enough for that. You can't do that. Take it back. Nice try. You came to the right guy. I caught it. Read it. Just read the cards. Um, and then again, the Yamcha may be free, but you can always swing at this dude. Anytime you guys see a Unison on board, I would say always go for it. Um, Red is getting more and more dangerous. I think this set Red is kind of really bad actually, just from leader wise, but it can do it. Like Red isn't unplayable. Like I've been winning with Red, so there's the proof. But the problem is that you over prepare for a certain deck with red, and then you leave yourself completely exposed to other strategies other decks may have. And but that's just me, and that's just what I've been dealing with because red's my favorite color. A lot of people watching this are like dead ass like pro players, and they would 2 on me. So like I mean I follow your knowledge, but from what I'm seeing, red is a little lackluster, but it is still dangerous, and you gotta respect it because it plays like this. One way you can avoid the Yamcha again, try to attack as much as you can. The Unisons bring them down under two, right? Because they have to be, pardon me, under two markers. Get the markers down. When you see this guy here, you need to bring this motherfucker. You need to bring this dude down. This dude's gotta go. And if they try to topo you, um, because the negate with Topo, remember, they have to drop a card. Always remember, always make sure your opponents are paying the right cost. They're dropping their cards, everything they have to do before you do your counter play. When somebody will use a Topo, they'll wait to see if you have a response to see if they have to drop something useless or something that they would need defensively. Always, if they pay two and then they Topo, just be like politely, oh, you gotta drop that other one. You know what I mean? Like, don't let them don't let them see if you have an answer first, because then they're just gonna be like they're just gonna pick what card depending on what your response is. So always respect the steps. Hold, just slow down, breathe, focus, read the cards, go a step at a time. Again, don't slow play. But I know I'm talking a lot about Topo and Yamcha, but there's so much to talk about. And I know it doesn't seem necessary, but I watch the games, bro, and I see it all the time. So, a way to get around Topo. I already told you guys about Yamcha. If I swing on the first one and I know they have two red up, I'm always gonna swing with leader so I can get my draw. I know that that's not the case with Vegex. He doesn't draw when he attacks, but you know what I mean, like in general. Um, and like, and if they topo me, and in my life is at four or less, one great way to respond is they topo me and you can say like, take a hike, pal. Like you came to the right guy. Just tap one and play this dude. Any counterplay that doesn't let your opponent play the card and send it to the warp, drop area, back to the hand, bottom deck, whatever. won't let the topo proc. Always read the cards carefully. This isn't like a spice I'm making up. But if you're new, like I get it. I'm not like coming up with like Einstein shit, but a lot of people aren't aware of it. Um, Problem is Vegex doesn't go down under like 8 life ever. It's pretty difficult. So you need to get your ass down to 4. You need to get your ass down to 4, or you can because Topo like stops turns. So you need to either counterplay it to the point because if he hits the board, it can't be like a Vegeta the Cruel or something. It has to be a Super Kamehameha. If you're playing blue, God Sealing Trunks. Every color should have a little something of an answer. Unfortunately, red doesn't have like the Beerus ball, but I've seen Topos get they don't have hoped before. Um, put this dude away. Let me see here. Okay, so Yamcha, you're out of here. Topo, you're out of here. Another thing I wanted to talk about is understanding what leader you're playing against. Don't just get comfortable when you're playing against red. You're like, oh, okay, I know how to play against red. Always make sure you're at least a little bit aware of each archetype in the colors, because some archetypes have some like nuts cards. Um, for example, if you're looking at Machine Mutants, they have Revenge Death Ball. Let's say that you're happy that didn't like you're going for game, right? You have this dude, you're swinging with him, and then you combo Champa, and then like 3 Babbies. They can literally Revenge Death Ball and kill him because his base power is 15. The combo power doesn't matter, and when he negs 15, he can kill him because his base power is 15. Again, I know this is obvious, a lot of you guys know about this, but for those that don't, always remember that red can also in the combo step neg your cards. Um, when you come into play or when you swing. I don't shotgun with battle cards anymore, to be completely honest. Like I do not shotgun with cards anymore. I don't even shotgun with leaders. Like Unison's like I have to, but they have to be tapped out, nothing in hands, or like there's cards in this game that make you look at your opponent's hand. That's the only time I'll ever feel safe. I do not feel safe anymore. It's not even coronavirus. Just from all the like Shugesh Kid Goku effects in the game, and I love it because I love counterplay, I love interaction. But like, yo, Revenge Death Ball is one of those cards. Like I remember back in the day where people would be using this on like against How to Mastery, and they'll like Revenge Death Ball How to Mastery like down a zip. Like they would like snap 3 of these. Um, they would keep unawakened, and then like How to Mastery would come down, and then they would just do 2 of them. Um, I know he's 35, but like then on the next turn, I remember somebody once used Revenge Death Ball and then negged with leader effect, and then played a Ginyu and took the Hada Mastery. Like I've seen crazy plays with negging, and you guys have to just be aware of it. Put this dude in the drop area. Go to the next card. Again, if you're sitting across a dude and he's playing red and he's got like a Supreme shirt on and he's got Yeezys, he's probably got a Vegeta exploding weakness. This is a guy that, just like the Vegeta Great Ape, he's got a certain limitation. He only gets cards that are 20,000 power or less. So he costs 3 though. So if you see 3 energy up, you can expect this guy to come down if you're playing your cards first. If you swing first, you might get topoed. Red can feel very safe. Red can feel very like, I don't know. It feels nice playing red. Like when I play red, I feel kind of comfortable. Sometimes when I lose against red, it's because maybe my finishers aren't the best, or I'm just not as broken. Red feels, as crazy as what I'm explaining to you guys is, red feels actually really fair compared to other colors like black or green. But but this is definitely a great card. This has saved my life a lot of times. There's also the Goku Kaioken from Draftbox 5 that for 2, he can neg something like 25,000 ignoring barriers. Or if you're playing Invoker, that's a card people have been using as a sideboard against Invoker, and it's just something to keep in your mind, just to remember that card exists. If you're new to the game, I'm just highlighting some of the main cards so you know what's coming. Again, if you watch my previous video on how to combat and how to play against yellow decks, it'll help you as well against red because as you can see, there's a lot of similar plays that red does. Um, and then finally, I just want to talk about the blue red. The blue red is really cool. I've been using it with Hercule. I've been using it with the red Vegeta, but whatever. The point is, if there's again, always look at your opponent's energy. It'll tell you a story. If you see them charging blue red and it's a blue or a red leader, you can pretty much expect for them to use Beerus. Beerus has the effect of untapping, which is like a total blue trait, and then they can for one red play this dude, and he negs two cards by 10,000, which is a total, red mood. And he does that ignoring barrier, and he nails you a card. I mean, it kind of sucks because when you mail a card and it's a black deck, they might snap and like mail a freaking Supreme Kai time. So if you're playing against that and you see there's a blue red and all you have on board is just one Supreme Kai time, maybe when you swing, maybe just combo it out, right? Because then you can use your effect to play cards, and hey, maybe you get a second one. But if you had done that before the swing, then you would have had more cards that are vulnerable to getting KO'd by the cooler. Um, I mean, again, it just makes sense. And usually a telltale sign, whatever the word is seeing a rested red blue. Um, I saw it back in the day with a Surge Coup, with a red yellow Surge Coup leader. Um, they would have like a rested blue red energy, and that's just a sign of this dude coming because he can just untap it. Obviously, it was used back then for like Raiders Warcry and stuff, but yeah, you can arrival the cooler. And another similar card is the Majin Buu Hercule card, but just cooler. Just basically one red and the next two things by 10,000. Um, yeah. Oh, the best thing you guys can do is just go to OnTap. That's what I do. I go to OnTap and I'm like, you know what? I'm building a deck that I think I'm gonna play. Um, Let me see what the matchup is like. The first thing I do is I go to Shenron's lair, I make the deck, then I copy it to OnTap, and then I play with myself. Not like that, but on the computer. And I shadow play, I see what the moves are, and if it works, I only do it once. You do it more than once, it's just, it's like brick don't hit back. You gotta go against someone. Go on OnTap, create a game, and just say, you can type on the search when you're searching for a player you want to play against. You want to play against a red deck? Testing a deck, play anything red. You can ask that. And then somebody that's playing baby will be like, all right, bet, let me get in here. You can say looking for a blue player or looking for a yellow or just spectate. You can always spectate and see how people play. There's a lot of ways to. I know that a lot of tournaments are closed right now, but there's plays to. There's ways to get some practice in. That's usually what I do. I go in and I'm like, damn, I feel like Vajax has a bad matchup against I don't know Red, for example, and I'll just go in there and play a dude playing red. Or just ask nicely, I'll play game one, and on game two, I'll be like, hey, do you have any red decks maybe I can play against? And I'll be like, yeah. But if you guys have any questions, message me. If you guys can think of anything that I couldn't think about, let me know. Um, I think red is weak against barrier, and I think red um, might be weak against hand control. A lot of control strategies. If you're playing like Piccolo simulated ability, it's a fucking rap. Like it's there's a few cards that just kind of like I feel kill red. Um, if you're playing a lot of hand destruction, if you out aggro red, obviously, because red isn't really the best at anything. It's really good at a few things, but it's still fair. You have to pay the energy. Like Raiders Warcry, you can play four Raiders Warcries. Um, there's a card in red that's called Frieza the four drop. He comes in for two, and he's got a unique. Like red is always limited. It's always got a limitation. But always read the cards. Always read what they do. Always read what the cost is, because people will try to sneak some shit that they're not allowed to do if they're desperate. If they're losing, always count the combos. Like they'll put a million cards on the combos on the combo area, and they'll be like, yeah, 105, and you'll be like, all right, bet, let me count that, because I feel like 40% of the games in this game I'll win by 5k. Like that happens. So yeah, or it might not be malicious. They just I'm a Marine. I can't read or count, so I get that. So yep, count for them. Help them out. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you're watching from the YouTube channel, go to Facebook, join Vegeta's Saiyan Army. If you're watching from a Facebook group, sub and like. Thank you guys for all the support. And I'll see you guys next time. I'll try to do blue, green, black. I don't know what order, but I'll do those next. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.